Yeah. Okay. Going live. Nice. Okay. We're live. So we don't change anything, right? Cool.
Well, I think we're alive.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome.
So welcome everybody. This is a cool.
Hello.
Well, I think we're having a lag. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways, welcome to Fireside Chat with Paul Bragiel. My name is Kadri Ugand, and I am the founding partner of Go Beyond Capital. And actually, my connection with Paul is that I have been investing together with Paul since 2012. So I know all his secrets. I know how to ask the right questions.
That you do. I'm scared. I'm intimidated.
Yeah. So let's get going maybe with a small intro. So how did you actually ever get into VC? Because we'll get into it a bit later, but I mean, you have a whole empire of funds around you. So what influenced you in the first place?
So my path was semi-traditional. So I was an entrepreneur. I built 3 companies in Silicon Valley. 1 in the gaming space and kind of 2 we were kind of early pioneers in the social networking, social media space. And I sold 2 of those companies, and I sold my last company in 2010. And then, you're pretty young guys, my early 30s, and had some nice exits. So what do you do with that money? In Silicon Valley, you start doing some angel investing, and you hang out, and I threw a lot of dinners and hosted a lot of events, and I love that type of stuff. I fell in love with the angel investing side. I was like, oh wait, I can make this to my next thing. Because I was actually at the time debating to start my 4th company. I was like, no, I could actually professionalize this. And then also I saw this movement happening where accelerator concept kind of came out. So Y Combinator pioneered it. And so there was no accelerator in San Francisco. And I was like, well, why don't I go out there and start the first accelerator in San Francisco? So I partnered up with me and a few friends, and we started that. It was me and my brother, Dan. We started every company together. My friend Ashwin, he was the founder of a company called BitTorrent. My friend Aber was the founder of a company called MySpace. My friend Steve was the founder of YouTube. So the 5 of us came together. We never raised any outside capital. We just kind of combined our family offices, and we started this accelerator. And that did super well and returned a lot of money for us. And then over time, it just kind of grown and grown and grown. But that was the beginning of it.
And the rest is history.
Something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
But maybe just to give the listeners like a quick overview of your funds. So you used to have 1 fund on each continent, but now it seems like you have 1 per country already in Europe. So what is it actually that you are involved in right now? Maybe you can give like a super quick overview of where you have and what.
Yeah, being that as I said, we started in the Bay Area, and so obviously I still have my core fund in the United States, kind of accessing all of our top deals, and I could go into more of our portfolio there. That one's called Bragiel Brothers, and all the folks I mentioned earlier are LPs in those funds and kind of venture partners. But yeah, so I've launched funds kind of in other parts of the world. So I'm the chairman of a fund in Southeast Asia called Golden Gate Ventures. I have a fund in Sub-Saharan Africa based out of Nairobi in South Africa called Savannah Fund. I have one in Eastern Europe called Smoke Ventures. And then I have kind of another fund that's kind of global in nature that focuses only on VR, AR, computer vision. That's called Presence Capital. And then I have another fund based in the Nordics focusing only on video games called Sisu. So those are the 6 core funds. I'm also an LP in a bunch of different funds. And I've helped incubate a few other funds as well too, but that's kind of the main activities. And then also, as I mentioned, I had 2 accelerators I started, but those have now kind of moved on. One was called IO Ventures, the one I mentioned earlier, and then Game Founders, which we did together for many years. And so those are kind of activities I have in my core, but then obviously there's a lot of other things in the periphery. And between all these different vehicles, we've done over 300 investments. So it's, a lot of happening. And obviously I have a huge team of people helping me manage this, and various general partners and managing partners around the world working for me.
But how do you kind of, let's say, decide on, I want to do a new fund, or what kind of motivates you, or what sort of opportunities you see in the market in terms of maybe like trends or new platforms emerging, or what makes you click and make that next decision? I want to go into this fund.
Yeah, so I have a list of like things that I'm interested in or regions I want to be exposed to or verticals, right? It could be anything from like, hey, I want to do something in space tech or climate tech to food and agriculture to like, hey, I'm missing something in Middle East and North Africa, which I am, right? Or hey, I want to do something more in Latin America. So I kind of have my wish list, but I don't force myself into any region just because I want to be there. I have to find people that I love to work with, right? So, I mean, of all these funds I mentioned, these are built with relationships of people that I've known for between 5 to 20 years. Some people worked for me, some people we've done investment and deals with together for years, some were actually even former co-founders. So once I kind of find a region I like and then a team or a person that I like, and I can combine those, then I'm off to the races. But I'm not going to force my hand just because I want to be there, because then you're not going to do it properly. And these are, all these funds, I mean, they're all very long-term plays. We want to be the leading fund in that vertical or that region, over the next 30 years. So it's like, you don't just go out there, put something up there, throw somebody there and hope it sticks. That's a recipe for failure.
Yeah. But are you going to reveal to us what else is on your wish list?
Maybe not.
No?
I don't know. I mean,
okay. But I know that's a lot what you are doing with the funds is, I mean, obviously you get access to a lot of deal flow, but also you're doing a lot of fundraising for these funds. And I know that a lot of GPs are registered for this event. So how do you approach fundraising? I'm sure that at any point of time, one of your funds at least is fundraising, since you have a number of them. So what is your main approach to fundraising?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things I do. One, I mean, obviously, being that I have 6 funds and we've, raised, over $500 million now, it's like we have a whole list of folks that just work with us always, right? And, we have some LPs that participate across every single fund. Some just do like 1 or 2 and they kind of sprinkle here and there. So obviously, we go to the well there. And then also, whenever we're going to a new region or new place, I actually will spend time in the place. So I'll actually fly around before we got all shut down, or I'll actually just kind of engage with these various folks. We also actually engage with a lot of governments. We have a lot of government LPs, anything like the Temaseks to sovereign wealth funds of Korea and Middle East and stuff like that. And so we also kind of have that whole network. And then also one thing I really believe in is also cold emails. I still do that. Like I'll have my team doing it, and even me, like the team will ask me like, hey, I want you to reach out to these few folks, and we don't do that. And also there's certain key events like events like this, or other really good sources ones, places like Davos, etc., that we like to get invited to, where people you just kind of bump into folks. And doing this for now 10 plus years, also a lot of people approach us and say, hey, how do we get access to your universe of funds? And that's kind of a nice I guess benefit now, but that wasn't the case for the first 5-6 years for sure. People were like, who the hell are you? But now the machine is kind of snowballing, so luckily we get a lot of inbounds too.
Yeah. And so what are you currently fundraising for?
Right now, there's 2 funds in the market. One is my core Silicon Valley fund, but that one we're kind of only allowing folks that are entrepreneurs, have kind of built companies before. And then we're launching our 3rd video game fund. That one's doing super well. And we'll probably do the first close next month or so. And that'll be mostly strategics, because a lot of people don't understand the game industry, but it's a very hot industry. So a lot of people have been approaching, knocking doors, to try and figure out who we let in.
Yeah, especially during the COVID, when people are having so much time to spend at home and using their screens. Yeah,
I mean, like, it's weird. Like, a lot of people have been, hurt in this time. But yeah, being that, we're super exposed to industries like gaming, but also other funds like, e-commerce, etc. We've seen a lot of our companies do super well. Which is kind of like this,
Do you see a difference in how you are fundraising during the pandemic now versus, I mean, previously you could travel, you were traveling all the time, but now everything is online. How do you see the kind of receptiveness of LPs and how are you? What are your first impressions of the pandemic fundraising time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's been okay. I mean, we took a break. I took the summer off. I normally don't. A lot of times I'm in the summer, I'm kind of doing all these various events, but this year, obviously nothing. So that was nice for me personally. But yeah, like we, kicked it back off in September. And for us, it's been kind of same old. Because what I've noticed though, and I'm talking to a lot of new GPs and a lot of new fund managers, if you've not been in the market and you're an unknown quantity, it's very hard, because a lot of the relationship is about building relationship, and that's how you do that over dinners and in-person meetings and even over beers and stuff like that. But like to people like me and other colleagues who've been around for a while, it's like you're a known quantity. not so bad. People already feel it. And also, I was seeing like, a lot of these LPs still have money they have to put to work. It's like they have a mandate and they have to kind of deploy it. So they're going to the well and they're going to people that they already know. They're not taking in new managers. They're like, hey, I know you, or I've heard of you and I didn't put into your previous fund. Can I get access to you now? So in some ways, it's actually been better for us because people are concentrating on people they've already met. And, being that I've been doing this for a while, it's kind of, there's a lot of people you met that just, it didn't fit before or they weren't ready and now they are.
Yeah. But so let's maybe talk a bit about another angle that you are very qualified to talk about. So seeing as you have the funds all over the world, what are the differences that you see? Let's say you have Europe, you have Asia, you have the States, you have Africa. What are the differences that you see in LP behavior or like their preferences, let's say? If you're raising for something in the States or raising for something in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, it's like just different pools of capital, right? And different types of attitudes. So US, you do a lot of stuff from, universities, endowments, and, obviously family offices play a big part there, but there's, those pools of money. You go to Asia, the universities don't invest. There's no such thing. Europe, same thing. And then, so Asia, you see a lot more conglomerates, right? And you're talking to these like big, huge, family-run businesses with 1,000 divisions, right? And so we have we have like 3 of the top biggest families in Korea, or we have Mitsubishi from Japan, which is fucking a giant, right? And so you have folks like that, and they have a very different process. And then in Europe, it's family offices, a lot of very, very discreet folks, but then also you have lots of government money. And there's a whole different story. And you have to jump through different hoops. And I'm guessing here, half the funds you probably have EIF money or whatever local, kind of program they have. I mean, my fund in Eastern Europe, based out of Poland, has PFR, which is Polish fund money. So you see those type of dynamics. But the one common thread is, family offices have a very strong part to play across all these continents because they're the ones who could write the early checks and. They're willing to take more risk, or they're kind of also more personality based. And I mean, I've even had times where some of these funds will make a decision very quickly because they just like you, and that's kind of how it works.
But what about, let's say, the same comparison over regions about your pipeline building? Like, how do you see? I mean, obviously, in the States, everything is a bit of a different stage than it is in Europe, and again in Asia, there are different sectors booming. So how do you? I mean, I know that you get a lot of deal flow coming in all the time. How do you kind of manage all of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's just different paces, right? So in the Valley, you got to move very fast, and if you don't, you miss out on the best deals, right? But then there's certain places where you can be a bit more cautious, a little bit slower, and get to know the founder better. Obviously, that's preferable. I like to know people better before I have to make a decision. And that kind of works out, in our favor. And then there's certain places, say Africa, where you're one of the only few games in town, and then you have a lot more, I guess, patience, and also, I mean, you could say leverage, right? Not that we try to, screw people over, but you get to go out there, and the prices are not as competitive, and it's not as crazy and ridiculous as it can be in San Francisco. But being that we are rooted in kind of have San Francisco kind of big roots, right? And a lot of the people that work at my various funds are people that had connection to the Valley and maybe transplanted to other parts of the world. We tend to be one of the more faster moving funds in all the respective regions, and we like to bring that kind of attitude. It's part of our goals. Like, 1, how do we bring money to the region? 2, how do we bring Silicon Valley expertise? But then also, how do we do the kind of execution and the kind of style of investing and bring it to the respective countries? And that's our goal.
Just as a note, if anybody has questions, just please write them in the stage chat. I think right now there isn't any, but feel free to. So to continue, so you said you told your story about how you got involved and in VC and all that. So how should kids today get involved? Because right now, as you said, family offices are very discreet and VC funds are very established already. So getting into the industry in the first place is quite difficult.
Yeah.
So how do you? I know that you are doing a lot of work on that route as well for a long time and in different regions. But what are your views on that? Because we need to get more people, more young people, and different views into the industry.
Of course. I mean, there's a couple different things. One, I've helped launch an initiative to help kind of bring in more interns called the 101 Fellowship that we're doing together, right? So we'd love to have more young people applying to just get a foot in the door in the VC world, and we want to encourage that. Also, kind of for new GPs, I've been helping incubate a lot of folks, and I just tend to mentor. I like to give my time. So if you're doing something really cool and unique, and you need help, just reach out to me, and then obviously folks at Kadri as well too. And then also, to encourage more, I'm trying to throw more events, and I think also that's what everyone should be trying to do is like, hey, just get more people together, have more open conversations. If you're trying to build your own relationships, like how do you provide value for the LP before you make the ask? That's always the question. Like, what am I providing before? So like, that's my always question. Like, hey, if I'm talking to somebody new and I want something from them, I should not ask. I should more provide value first 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then maybe say, hey, by the way, can you help me out, and can you connect me in? Plug me into the VC.
Sort of show that you have value before asking for something.
Of course, always. If somebody makes an amazing introduction or something's like, hey, I got this really cool family office that I want to introduce you to, and by the way, could you answer a few questions? Yeah, I'm going to be way more paying attention versus like, please answer these questions, and like, oh, who are you? I've never met you, right? So if you're nice and you're kind of part of the community, you contribute. It's important. Even like before I started my VC career, like for 5-6 years before I started that, I was really well known for hosting monthly dinners. And I had his annual camping trip I held. So like I was just known as this person who's kind of in the middle of a flow of a lot of really cool people. So the minute I started the fund, we had people knocking our door that wanted to, obviously take our money, but also put money to us. So that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. Even I have made really good connections at a few of your dinners. So, I know firsthand how this works.
Yeah, I like to share, like, one thing I hate about the kind of LP GP world is like people don't share. Like everyone's like, this is my LP, and it's like, what the fuck you doing, right? Like it's like not every LP is a perfect fit for you. So you should be sharing openly, because you don't know. Maybe you hook that person up and they'll meet somebody that's not a good fit for them. Then they can up. So like, get over it. Stop this kind of hoarding of people. I hate it. It pisses me off. Rant over. Yeah.
Okay, we have a few questions. So what do you think about sustainable and impact investing? Good question.
This is an amazing question. So I think it's super cool. Obviously, Kadri, you are now doing a fund in that space, which I'm probably supporting and will be an LP in. So yeah, I think it's an amazing space. I think it's booming, and I think that we should encourage more and more of that to be, fostered. So yes, awesome. I'm a big fan of it.
And we also have people already wanting to share deals and start a fund with you. So see, you only have to show up for 15 minutes and it starts.
Yeah, happy to have a chat and see what I could do to help you guys out. Yeah.
But what are your next plans? Do you have something kind of like solid in the works, or you are just now kind of trying to ride out the pandemic and see what happens afterwards?
So we're exploring a few different regions right now. Obviously, trying to help you and your fund as much as possible, and really encourage everybody in the audience to check out what Kadri's doing. But then also we're exploring Central Asia. I think there's some really cool stuff happening there, especially with kind of a really good engineering base. So I'm helping one of my former colleagues who spun out of one of my funds to create a fund there, and I'm also exploring Latin America a lot more. And I would love to have more exposure there. But in general, I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening in Europe. I spend a lot of time there. I'm also a European Union citizen. So I just want to potentially do more and more stuff. And that's, I guess, kind of what's on the horizon. I think it's a lot I'm already cooking, but luckily I have a good infrastructure around me to help me juggle all this.
Yeah. So we have one more question, and I think then we need to wrap up. How do you evaluate a first-time manager? You said that you are also LP in a different fund. So maybe from like step into your third pair of shoes.
Yeah. Wearing that hat. For me, when I'm evaluating a new fund manager, it's just kind of getting to know you and spending time. And what I want to know is what makes you unique. Why do people come to you? Or like, are you part of some famous alumni? Okay, you're like a part of the PayPal mafia. You're getting good deals, right? Oh, you are part of this crew, or you're really known for hosting this event that everyone attends to. It's like, what kind of makes people know about you, and what puts you in the flow of a lot of really interesting people? And then also, I just want to kind of know how you go out there and kind of judge people. Are you very kind of numbers driven, or are you kind of more of a people person? And then, that once I kind of know those two things, then I have to just like you. Like, do we want to have a beer with you? Like, can I tolerate with you, hanging out with you? Like,
that's important.
Putting money into you, or I'm going to help incubate you and kind of get you up to the next level. Like, I'm going to be hanging out with you for the next 10 to 20 years, right? So, like, I have to be not annoyed, or you have to be not annoyed with me. It's a two-way street. So yeah, like, do I just enjoy spending time with you? Like, that's really important. Like, because I want you to be part of my family. And like, obviously, me and Kadri, we've been, 4 or 5 continents together. Like, we really enjoy hanging out. That's why we continue working going forward. So when she started her new fund, I was like, of course I'm in. It's like, it's a no-brainer for me.
Cool, but we need to wrap up now. We have run out of time, but it was a pleasure as always to talk to you, although we haven't seen in such a long time, and hopefully next time in person then.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Kadri.
And thank you everybody for watching.
See everybody. Bye.
Bye.